Want to know why? Ask how. Howard the Humongous. Donald Trump, con man Don, his royal Trumpishness, revealed how dangerously delusionary his mind is Tuesday, March 13th, in a speech at the Marine Corps Air Station in Miramar, California. Conman Don said, quote, "We are going to Mars. We wouldn't be going if my opponent had won. And I came up with this great idea, a space force." Donald Trump talked about coming up with the idea of his space force with the giggly glee of a 4-year-old, trying to express to his audience his utter wonder at his unique genius for plucking ideas out of nowhere, ideas no one has ever thought of before. But Trump's claims were lies, lies, and more lies. More important, they were ignorant delusions. Dangerous delusions. Right now, NASA is operating without a head and is generating an idea that can kill America's manned space program for the next 20 years. It's an expensive boondoggle called the Deep Space Gateway. It is utterly useless, but very expensive, and it's intended to soak up as much NASA cash as possible, diverting the space agency's budgets away from practical space programs that are almost within our grasp. The Deep Space Gateway is a giant nipple in the mouth of the space military industrial complex companies like Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, and Boeing. And this deep space program destroyer, this Deep Space Gateway, is developing momentum because with an empty-headed president in charge, the cat's away and the mice do play. Meanwhile, Hillary Clinton had one of the best space experts on the planet, Lori Garver, former deputy administrator of NASA, and a champion of the man who really is responsible for Americans going to Mars, Elon Musk. Musk is the only man on Earth with a practical Mars program and the means to achieve it. Musk is a man whose rockets started flying under Barack Obama, which means that when Donald Trump said on Saturday, "You see what's happening? You see the rockets going up left and right?" and takes credit for it, he is lying, both to himself and to you and me. To repeat, those rockets started going up under Barack Obama. And the man responsible for them is, once again, not Donald Trump. He is Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a brilliant achiever who dropped out of Donald Trump's Industrial Advisory Council when Trump pulled out of the Paris Climate Accord. As for the Space Force, Donald Trump's genius brainstorm, if I can find it again, that is an idea that a group of Air Force officers who happen to be friends of mine have been pushing aggressively for almost a year. The Washington Post counted 2,436 lies in just the first 355 days of the Trump regime. What do you do when your president has a serious mental illness? A delusional narcissism, when he is a serial liar who deceives even himself. And when this self-deceiver, this man in an imaginary world, in a dream world, controls the nuclear button. But there's worse. Donald Trump is not just a serial liar who believes his own bullshit. He's not just a delusional narcissist. He may be an accidental traitor. Russia has two key geopolitical goals when it comes to the United States. Break up the Western alliance by divide and conquer. In other words, set America and our allies at each other's throats. And goal number 2, set Americans at each other's throats. Trump is helping the Russians on both fronts. The House Intelligence Committee Republicans are about to issue a report saying that Russian interference did not help Donald Trump win the election. That's what Donald Trump has demanded from his lapdog, Devin Nunes. What about the 30,000 Clinton emails that 17 intelligence agencies say the Russians gave to WikiLeaks? Why were there no WikiLeaks of Trump's emails? How badly would Trump have been hurt if the Russians had leaked his emails too? Did Donald Trump know Hillary's emails came from Russia? Of course he did. He told us so. Remember, he said, Russia, if you're listening, please release more of her emails. Meanwhile, one of his foreign policy advisors, George Papadopoulos, knew that the emails came from Russians. He learned it from Russian agents in early 2016, roughly 9 months before the election. And Trump's son, Donald Jr., also knew that the Russians were leaning on the scales for his father. On June 3rd, 2016, at 10:36 a.m., Rob Goldstone emailed to Donald Trump Jr. that, quote, the Crown Prosecutor of Russia offered to provide the Trump campaign with some official documents and information that would incriminate Hillary and her dealings with Russia. This is obviously very high-level and sensitive information, but it is part of Russia and its government's support for Mr. Trump. Let me repeat, part of Russia and its government's support for Mr. Trump. This led to a meeting with Donald Trump Jr., Donald Trump's campaign manager or campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, and Donald Trump's son-in-law and close advisor, Jared Kushner, at Trump Tower with Russian lawyer Natalia Veselnitskaya. Again, what did the Russians do to tip the elections to Trump? Anything? Only 30,000 Clinton emails to WikiLeaks. How has Donald Trump helped the Russians? He has weakened the Western alliance. He has threatened to pull out of NATO if others don't increase their military budgets. He's established steel and aluminum tariffs and threatened a trade war not with our enemies, but with our allies. A trade war with our allies. He has bashed the leaders of Mexico and Australia on the phone. He has refused to enforce sanctions against Russia. He has taken the eyes of the world away from Vladimir Putin's invasion of the Ukraine. When Theresa May said that former spy, 66-year-old Sergei Skripal, and his 33-year-old daughter were hit in Salisbury, England on March 4th with Novichok, a Russian agent developed in Russia, Trump at first refused to name Russia. Rex Tillerson was fired after criticizing the Russians for the nerve gas attack, saying, quote, we are outraged, and after Tillerson slammed Russia's activity in Syria and the Ukraine. National Security Agency Director and U.S. Cyber Command Chief Admiral Mike Rogers has, like many people working under Donald Trump, decided he will retire this spring, and he explained that he has not received any specific direction from the Trump administration to disrupt Russian cyber attacks targeting U.S. elections. Now look, Donald Trump swore an oath that he would be commander-in-chief. From a commander-in-chief, this may be a treasonous act. Meanwhile, Democrats want to look into why Deutsche Bank has loaned Donald Trump over $500 million, despite the fact that Trump has stiffed Deutsche Bank in the past and has made it worse by suing Deutsche Bank for starting the great crash of 2008 and claiming that because it caused that crash, he doesn't owe them the money they lent him. So why is Deutsche Bank loaning Donald Trump vast sums of new money? The answer may lie in the fact that Deutsche Bank has been fined for Russian money laundering, but it goes much deeper than that. Deutsche Bank makes billions of dollars from its ties to guess who? Vladimir Putin, the man who may be pulling Donald Trump's strings without Donald Trump knowing a thing about it. Then there's another possible avenue of Russian influence. Melania Trump is from Slovenia, and her father was a member of the League of Communists of Slovenia. Slovenia was a part of the Soviet bloc and is now part of the European Union and NATO. What are Melania's sympathies? We don't know. We are strong because of our alliance with the British, the Europeans, and the Japanese. Russia and China are trying to peel away our allies. They are getting help at this from Donald Trump. Australia is under attack from the Chinese, who succeeded in censoring a book revealing their attempt, the Chinese attempt, to manipulate the Australian government and press. And Italy is under attack from Russia, with a 17% win roughly 10 days ago for the League, a party, an Italian party, that has a deal with Vladimir Putin's United Russia party. Trump is committed by his oath of office to defend democracy. Instead, he fawns over dictators, the people he calls strong leaders who are smart and tough. Those dictators include Vladimir Putin, China's Xi Jinping, the Philippines' Rodrigo Duterte, and Turkey's strongman Recep Tayyip Erdogan. But Donald Trump's greatest gift to Moscow may be the fact that Trump beats up on our allies and slavishly, obsequiously, fawns, bows, and scrapes to our enemies. That can be a great help to Russia. Trump's fawning over Putin and over China's Xi Jinping has made America number 3, third to China and Russia, the powers that Donald Trump looks up to. What's worst is that Donald Trump, con man Don, seems to ache for dictatorship that will establish a Trump dynasty. Oh, really? Yes, really. Trump told donors in the ballroom at Mar-a-Lago on Saturday, March 10th, about China's president, Xi Jinping. He said, quote, "President Xi is a great gentleman. He's now president for life. He was able to do that, and I think it's great. Maybe we'll want to give that a shot someday." Donald Trump said this with awe and longing over a dictatorship for life. And Trump said he regrets not prosecuting Hillary Clinton immediately after the election. That's the thinking of a tin pot dictator. It's the beginning of a banana republic. And it's the end of democracy. In a democracy, we don't jail our opponents. We defeat them at the battle box. Then we leave them alone. Look, Donald Trump is sworn by oath to defend the Constitution of the United States and to defend democracy. That's your democracy and my democracy, at least so far. Instead, con man Don seems intent on destroying the truth and on ending democracy. This is Howard the Humongous speaking to you from the future that it's your job and my job to make, or want to know why? Ask how. And now for that insidious, slimy, sleazy, impossible to find little off button. I think I've got it.